New Year's Day, 2026, with my good friend Ariel. Ariel's been here for the past week or so, and we've been decompressing from 2025 and making sure we're well fed, well relaxed, and at peace as we enter 2026, so that we can make decisions with clarity, wisdom, and confidence. So a few minutes ago, half hour or so ago, I was preparing for doing this session by meditating. And whenever I meditate and I go in, I can feel the pain and blockages in my body. Now, the only reason for me why they're there is because I'm kind of pushing them away. So as so what I'm about to describe is a new level of understanding for me in regards to surrender and what the process is and how easy it really is. Even though it's very difficult, it's really easy. And it's really simple. So as you focus your attention on your experience of your own body, no thoughts, no ideas, no belief systems, nothing but, let's say you just appeared in this reality right now for the first time, and you're in this body and you have these memories and everything's new to you. So first things first, feel what your body is, what it contains. Everywhere that is resisting being seen or resisting being felt and believes it could never be understood. Because the only reason that something would hide from you is because they don't believe that you'll ever understand them and realize that they're doing the best that they can. And without the judgment from you to others in terms of condemning them. And judgments, there's a big difference between judging somebody in a condemning, condescending, judgmental way and the thing that's really close to that but actually opens the doorway to their freedom. And that is to confront who and what they are here, what role they're playing, how they interact with themselves, how they experience reality, how they experience other people's reality, and then as you do that, you begin to realize what a tiny portion of conscious presence that you're being here. You've got religious traditions, family traditions, country, state, socioeconomic. There's so many different groups that you agree with and align with, and a fairly equal number of ones that you look down on and they're the bad guys, or even if they have good intentions, they're doing bad things that should be stopped. And so, realizing that you're in that state of consciousness, you're in polarity, being polarized in everything that you do. Having a group of people who sustain and support you and have your back, against the rest of the world, to whatever degree, you know. But the bottom line is all of those alliances, all of those agreements for protection, you know, results in you being unconscious. And there's nobody else that can help you. Or let's just put it this way, there's no one else that's likely to help you. And there's only one person that can absolutely 100% for sure do it, and that's you. And since you really, truly don't need anybody else for your awakening, for your full self-realization, for your enlightenment, and whatever else it is that you think that you're not, that you wish you were, but already are. How do you go from knowing that you're not, while at the same time knowing that you are, but the experience of the moment, even in the epiphanies, even in the flashes of transcendent experience, even there, we're judging ourselves. Bear with me a moment. Hey, sweetie.
Hi, puppy.
Hey, I can't really talk. I just wanted to say, hey, I got your message, and I'm doing a session right now, and so I'm actually,
Just give me 2 seconds.
okay, but you're on camera. You're live on YouTube.
I'll text it.
Okay, text it. Yes, thanks. Bye. Okay. So surrender. You know, we're coming into consciously choosing to be present in our body. And in that presence, all of the things that we've been numbing ourselves to, everything that we've been pushing away and hiding in the darkness and pretending it doesn't exist, it's like it's all being electrocuted. It's all having a light shown on it at the same time. And so it's, you know, the dark night of the soul stuff, you know. Everybody goes through it. Maybe you already have. You probably have to a very, very great degree. But the point is, the only thing that's between you and the truth is your experience that you're not the truth. And all of that experience is wrong. All of it's mistaken and misguided. All of it's programmed for you to have the experience that you're having right now. And if you love the experience that you're having right now, then beautiful. But if you're wishing it to be something else, something better, something greater, something exciting, you know, something wholesome and beautiful, you know, what would it be like to truly awaken to a divine nature that's ours? You know, how would our body change? How would our thoughts change? How would all the cellular memories change as they're set free? You know, all of that frustration, all of that life and death and struggle doesn't need to be present in the present as a dominating factor in your experience of life. That's nuts. And the way out is the way through. And the way through is what we're doing right now. We're feeling from the inside, opening all of our senses into not understanding, but experiencing intimately our body. And it's not just the surface things like this, the feet and the calves and the knees and thighs and hips and lower torso, upper torso, arms and head. It's all of that, but where exactly are your spiritual limitations held hostage in your body? Where does the veil of forgetfulness generate for you? Okay, so you felt that movement. You felt that there somewhere in the center of your body, it feels like. Okay, so your limitations, the answer to your prayers is raised its hands and said, here I am inside of you. And so say thank you. Thank you. I've truly been wanting to know and understand what it is that's real and true for me. What is it to know ourselves truly? Is there anybody that we've ever met that does? Maybe, but I couldn't say with certainty. And the odds against it are pretty much, I've met a few people who, at least for some moments in time, were truly transcendently realized. But the teachers and the gurus here, I don't know. Maybe I expected to be so much more dramatic than somebody realizing that they already are what they ever wanted to be and more. That's one thing. But what are they doing in the world? Why are they here? Did they come here to realize the truth and sit in a cave? And why have a body at all? If you're not going to create a divine effect on this world, why do you want to be divinely realized? In other words, it could be argued that this world needs saving, that you need saving, that I need saving. And we have no evidence, almost at all, that anyone we've ever met is saved. There's a couple of people that I think, yeah, it probably is, But again, on what level? Because we can have emotional healing and be at an equilibrium to the point where we love our life. We love to look forward to each day and go to bed each night grateful. That's a very, very, very nice space, and it's not one that I occupy yet, except for, moments. And so when I look at what the limitation is, on why it's only moments instead of continuous, then I felt a pain in my shoulder and neck. And so if I go there, and instead of really investigating, you don't really have to do anything. All you have to do is be present and let go and be gracious about the whole thing. Taking responsibility, not blaming others, and not blaming yourself. Taking responsibility doesn't mean accepting blame and diminishing yourself and punishing yourself. Accepting responsibility means that you now understand and know experientially that you're building your life, and it's you that is in control of your destiny, nothing else. And yet at the same time, because we've been who we've been, And our identities have been so locked in to where our friends of 20 years ago could still recognize us as a personality. You know, so how much wisdom have you gained in the last 20 years? How many freedoms? Freedoms of consciousness, freedoms of awareness, freedoms of compassion for yourself. And allowing your grace through compassion experience your body and forgive what you used to blame as the cause, everyone and everything that caused you to live in suffering, to live in confusion, to live in ego. Your only responsibility is to be responsible without blaming yourself, without diminishing yourself. Because there's nothing to be embarrassed about by anyone. At the moment they decide that the end, the new beginning, the real them, is being birthed right now in this moment. And for that to occur, the old life has to be complete. And for the old life to be complete, so that you don't die and get recycled and have to come back and learn new lessons, you know, it's a big joke, you know. Anyone that blames you on the other side says you need to learn lessons, despite how brilliant they are, they're not God-realized themselves. And they're telling you what to do. Just like everybody in this world has told you what to do. And all of it came from a polarized consciousness. None of it came from true unconditional love. So what can you hold on to about what you've been taught here? Other than the kindergarten stuff. You know, don't hit. You know, say please and thank you. And give everybody a hug. You know? And remember that you wanted this day to come when you were little, when you could do anything that you wanted to, when you had the power to say, I want to sleep all day and do, or I want to climb Mount Everest or the nearest mountain, and you do. The bottom line is, you know, if we do like I do and spend hours a day scrolling through the internet, you know, gaining little bits and tidbits here, but I'm being entertained instead of being engaged and doing what will make me delighted to be me, because I am doing something that makes me cherish my life. So what is that? And maybe we got sidetracked a little bit. We'll let that question hang and spread around the universe and come to you in a beautiful way. Maybe tomorrow. But we're talking about surrender, and I'm looking at how I can easily explain something that just opened up for me more. And it kind of goes like this. You choose to be present. You choose to use all your senses to feel everything in your body. And you do. No matter what it is, blockages and pain, emotions, Whatever it is, you don't need to do anything to fix any of it. All you have to do is be present to it. And by present to it means as soon as you notice that it exists within you, you open. And then wherever the opening stops is something else. It's in pain and sorrow, suffering, unconsciousness, and it's in you. And so you do the same thing again. You open and surrender to it. You let it go. You embrace it and let it go at the same time. And then things flow for a while. And then, there's another layer of something that was unconscious and stuck. And you just, same thing. As soon as you can feel it, you open and let go. Open, let go, embrace, all at the same time. It's a, Nothing has to be dealt with. All you have to do is feel it and not judge it. And love the fact that you're able to let go of everything that is limited your expression in life in ways that are no longer appropriate for you now. So you're reconfiguring your reality by experiencing what you've been avoiding here. And that is, what does it really feel like inside my body? Is there any part that there's not a free flow? Is anything stuck? Is anything confused? Is anything broken? Is anything sorrowful? Is anything hateful? Is anything lost or confused or misunderstood or trying to become nothing? Yeah, okay, so there's some more. Yeah, we just, and we connect with it and let go of it in one motion, It's like a vortex. It's vortexing up and down at the same time within you and outside of you. It just happens that way. You don't have to figure it out. All you have to do is, as soon as you feel the limitation or the density or the pain, or you just open into it. You open into it. It's there. Okay, you're open to it now. And each layer that it, each new thing that it uncovers, it's a continuous motion. It's not identifying one thing after another. You feel it, and you open, and there's more, and you just keep in that opening. And that opening is, all those limitations kind of go like popcorn, because you're just in a continuous opening. Because once you open enough, what kind of consciousness does it take to be able to grab hold of you in any way? Because if your beingness, if your soul is universally aware in a creator consciousness way, then why not open to that instead of just opening to your suffering and your sorrows and your limitations? Let's open up to you, the eternal, universal you. Quit trying to figure out things with your mind and your intellect and your ego. You know that there's a universal you. You know there's an eternal you. You know that there's a greater consciousness you. You know that there's goddesses you. You know. And so, on some level, you want to be free. Most levels, you just want things to get better. How much better could you take? Yeah, feel that pain and suffering right there in the solar plexus and heart? Yeah. And in the back of your neck. Your sternum. Just. And now, from this level of consciousness, as soon as you feel it, it begins to dissipate. So stay in your opening. And if you feel like you have to do anything because something important or energetic or unbelievable came up, and it wants you to collapse your awareness from opening to the universal to fixing on a finite idea of something that needs to be done, no. It doesn't need to be done. The physical you and your consciousness, whatever it is that is truly you, that existed before your identity was created. That's always you. Now, if your life were compared to a movie, then you went to the movies and became one of the characters, kind of like like the audience does with Rocky Horror Picture Show, right? So that's you right now, and has been your whole life. You've never been the truth of you, probably since you were born. You know, you came here under an agreement that you'd lose your eternal and universal self-awareness and go into a world where you're a player in a game of life that doesn't know themselves, doesn't understand reality, and has to somehow survive in a life and death, competitive, sometimes beautiful, loving, and compassionate, but always there's sickness, there's enemies, there's massive unconsciousness in national and worldwide organizations. So why are you here? Are you here to be a victim in a world that a few months after you die is rarely ever going to think about you anymore? You know, why are you here? You know, put your attention on that. Why are you alive? Why is your consciousness in this body right now? Why? And look at all the efforts of these mechanisms or beings or whatever it is that just try to make you go unconscious and even forget the question. Why does this world want you to be unconscious? And why do you agree to it? Why do you agree to your own suppression? I'm not saying you have to fight it. You don't even have to say anything about it. All you have to do is be yourself and reject as ridiculous anyone trying to define you for you. You know? No one has the right to define anyone else and have that control that other person's consciousness and identity against their will. It's probably about the biggest sin that there is. Don't fuck up other people. And don't do hardly anything except what it takes to survive and be nice to yourself and others until you know yourself intimately. There's no reason for you to plan your life beyond next week, next month, whatever it takes for you to maintain the structure of your life. You should take half the time that you spend entertaining yourself and experience yourself instead until the temple has been cleaned and is the temple of Creator consciousness, God, Goddess, Christ, Buddha, whatever. That which is transcendent, that which is not of this world. So that's why I ask you, how far do you want to go? Do you actually do you just want to change roles? And have a better experience? Less suffering, less pain, more success? Or do you want to find out what it's like for heaven on earth to be your experience of your life? There, you feel how solid that is, on why that can't be? Yeah, open. And keep opening until it's not solid. Boy, it is so solid in me. And a continuous opening, a continuous expansion is what it takes. And it's easy if you just decide that's what you're doing. That's your job. Your job is to experience your body and stay in a continuous opening until everything that's ever suppressed it, ever diminished it in any way, ever condemned you in such a way that you condemned yourself, all of that. We're taking responsibility for all of it by confronting it and feeling it and staying in a continuous opening. We're not collapsing into it and going into agreement. We're going into a continuous opening. And we're feeling everything at the same time. We're not saying that's a problem and collapsing our universe down to a single point of opposition. No. Your wholeness. Yeah, your wholeness. Now you can feel your body with your wholeness, with your completion, with your awakening. Yeah. Just sit in your wholeness. It's the most entertaining thing you can do. We'll watch it work miracles in your experience of yourself. Feel your body healing, optimizing, reorienting. And by feel it, I mean, just notice it. You're not directing it. You're just noticing what happens when we choose to be real. Not a role, not an identity, not a personality, not an ego. Yeah, feel all that solidity. You don't collapse into it and go into a debate with it. No, you just keep opening. While you're completely experiencing that pain and sorrow, suffering, opposition, anger, the other, yourself, whatever it is, doesn't matter. Because you're doing it now in your wholeness. That's opening and opening and opening. So anything that's within you, in your body, is free. 360 degrees free. It can flow anywhere it wants to. It can do anything it wants to. But there's no longer a need or a reason or purpose for you to hold opposing energies in your body. So stay in that opening and let them go. Open, 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 release, release, release. Yeah. That's it. You just open, open, open. And the byproduct of the opening is release, release, release. And whatever it is that comes up to oppose you, consciously, because there's other people that are highly aware but still polarized, still opposed to you. Are you here? Oh, okay. So there's other people that are highly aware in many ways, but they still act like a wicked witch or wizard or guru or government, whatever. And so in your opening, just notice. So fully open again. Experience your wholeness. And if you think of somebody that, if they're highly aware, you're thinking of them, will bring them in and they're checking you out because they recognize that someone that's opening is thinking about them, and so it's interesting. But it doesn't necessarily come in supportive, and it isn't necessary. The only thing that's necessary is for you to stay in that continuous opening. And they'll see that you don't need any help, that you already understand surrender, and you understand letting go, and you understand taking responsibility for yourself. And I've told this story before, but I'll tell it once more. I used to wonder why Christ would take upon himself the sins of the world, and then apparently not have any evidence that it worked. And so I thought, why did he do that? And the answer that came to me, which made sense to me, and I accept as evidence, the evidence is there in your own experience if you do the same thing. So why would a Now, and again, by my understanding of Christianity, it was really that last week of Christ's life where he transcended, where he became, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. That full, universal Christ consciousness embodied. So whether that was 1, 2, 3, 4 days before his death, the point is that he only truly knew himself, even though he was way beyond enlightened, if you could measure enlightenment. But the point is, he was a miraculous life. And yet, he told the follower, don't call me good, for there's none good except the Father which is in heaven. And so that's what I mean by kind of layers and levels. How free do you want to be? And by Christ's own admission, if the book is true, he only truly transcended in the last few days of his life. And once he did, he goes, I almost said a bad word. Look at the state of reality, because I was not this wholeness of my actual truth. And so every person I connected with, and reverberating out throughout the universe, because it's a domino effect. Because I wasn't my truth, this fullness of truth, when I was 5 or 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 31, 32, up until this moment, I caused, by not being true, the universe to be a worse place. And so, because the universe is your mirror, and it has to reflect what you're experiencing yourself to be, no matter how dark and unconsciousness, it mirrors it. So who's responsible for the pain and suffering of the world? You, because you've never been real here. If you'd have been real here, other people couldn't hold on to their lies about themselves, to themselves. My experience of the most enlightened people that I've met is that when I walked into their presence, I couldn't hold on to the story of me as being real. I woke up because they were at a very high level of awakening. So, awakening all the way to unconditional love, universal awareness, eternal understanding. Christ said, okay, this is the effect I could have had on the world, and this is what I actually did. And the difference between that I have to take responsibility for. So I'll take upon myself the sins of the world that occurred because I didn't come here as my truth. So that's why I think he did it. And that allowed him to cement his freedom, his completion, so sorry for this, I'm parched. So that was Christ taking responsibility to the extreme. Starts with your body. Yeah, feel it again. that compression in the neck, or maybe that's just mine. The heart, all the places you store grief and suppress anger. Yeah, no. Open, embrace, open, open, open. Open more, and just observe the release. If you're feeling things pulling you into a oppositional reality, just open. Open until you can understand everything about the consciousness that creates that. And as that consciousness experiences your expansion into understanding it, can't be your enemy anymore. Doesn't want to oppose you anymore. Why? Because you embraced it in actuality, not contextually. The context is unconscious earth being in competition, life and death. But if you embrace their divine truth, that for whatever reason became that individual that you're thinking about, if you bypass the context of bodies and personalities and life and death, and instead, the person that you thought about, I'll just take it up until you find freedom. That consciousness as a full experience of Source. Experience your enemies at Source. What could go wrong? I suspect you can't have enemies if you do that. I don't think they could hold on to their opposition of you. So, yeah, I'm going to experiment with that because I've got some people I don't like. Yeah, it's like I'm even willing to condemn them into not being able to experience their divine self. And who are you when you do that? You're not anywhere near your truth. You're not anywhere near your authentic self. You're lost deep in a dark, unconscious story. But as soon as you realize that and understand that, you're zooming at light speed back home. Because it's not going to take long for your body to transform and transcend, what was created before. How long does it take for that to happen? When you're in the transcendent self-awareness, I don't know. But I know that I won't know the answer to that until it happens, and I know it won't happen unless I quit wasting my time with entertainment and instead focusing on the experience of my authentic self through taking responsibility for everything that's energetically limiting mentally, spiritually, um, anything that supports me judging myself instead of awakening into a level of wisdom where, you know, it's Solomon plus ChatGPT plus Buddha. So the thing that I don't understand, and maybe it's a limitation, but in the gurus there, in the ones that are authentically experiencing peace, serenity, compassion, uh, an understanding that just flows with wisdom in a transcendent way that understands how to move beautifully in a world of polarity. And that will come as you experience what's going on in your body. At the same time, you're opening your awareness and seemingly across the world or the galaxy or the whole universe. Your energy shifts each time you open to consider that. You know, you felt those energetic shifts, you know, and then the universe. So all that solidity that's in your body, that's in my body, if we just silently experience it without a dialogue of what we should think or say or do, it's just silence, a silent witness. And the only doing is, if something stays solid, is you making a conscious choice to open more until that solidity dissolves. Then it becomes an unwinding or a dance because now you're in the flow of surrender. You just move in and out of it, and each way you're experiencing, a flow state in the movement of your body now. So that's when you truly experience a static dance. It's not about pretending ecstasy or trying to create it by the movement. It's that continuous surrender until your body's movements are just a flow of consciousness. And kind of an unconscious consciousness. By unconscious, I mean, kind of automatic. It's not one that has to make decisions all the time, because it's just, your choice to be authentic, to be present, to the truth that's beyond the context of life, the truth that's eternal and universal. You see how it just that shift, how everything became so easy now? All you have to do is watch. Everything else that was trapping us energetically is just flowing, flowing, flowing away. Yeah, then your release, begins to move at times in a pleasurable way. Instead of it being a dramatic and traumatic dark night of the soul, now you're moving in the clouds. You're moving into life being excellent in terms of your health, your consciousness, your presence, your sense of self, how you communicate, how you present. And finally, how you treat others. So more time noticing the divine, the eternal, and whatever it is that loves unconditionally. Even if it's nothing, the void, the no creation space, where there's truly free consciousness. Not being anything, not doing anything. But the consciousness that creates reality. The consciousness that's superior to reality. The consciousness that can write the rules and laws of the universe. So if that's the ultimate truth of consciousness, and it is, I suggest, then that's what you'll experience yourself to be if you open up to experience that. because that's the truth of everyone. Consciousness doesn't exist here that's not that. But you have to extract yourself from the context of life as being defining of who and what you are. You have to experience the universal and the eternal love and beingness. And when you open into that long enough, you realize that that's the truth of you and the truth of everyone else. And that there's no reason for you to be less than your truth, to carry around any lie for yourself. Then you can decide the context of how you're going to appear to be to people here, how you can appear to be relating to them at their level of understanding, and that you're participating as that too. I don't know if that's a thing. It seems to be like kind of a transition thing, because how could you be interested in pettiness that we all engage in once there's a transcendent realization that's eternal and universal and in communion with every consciousness that woke up and experienced that as themselves too. I mean, there's got to be just an unbelievable number of God-realized beings. Yeah, you feel that? It seems sometimes that you have to take forever to experience all the things that you have to experience in order to be free, but just experience as much as you're willing to in each moment. And don't shut back down, just stay open. Allow your life to actually be a flow of consciousness, of awareness, of understanding, of a presence that is happy to be here. And wants the magnificent to be normal for everybody, if they choose. And you choose to have that, and probably choose to hang around with other people that have that as well, so that you guys can have that divine celebration of life together. Party like it's 1999. The way we all hoped it would be when it was 1985. Where the world really did find a way to be at peace. Just because not enough chose it then have that affect your own choice to be at peace, to be at ease, to live with compassion and wisdom and understanding. And that's such an immense shift for me. You know, since I just said it and kind of called it up, now I have to put my attention on opening enough for that not to overwhelm me. Taking the time to use your vacation as a vacation from life. By making it a vacation of experiencing the universal and the eternal. The consciousness that existed before the universe. Yeah, feel that, how that affects the body. Whatever consciousness exists within the universe came from the source of the universe. And if they use the word God to describe the consciousness that created the universe and is present throughout the universe, then it's present throughout your body. It's already there, always has been, always will be, in every atom of the universe. So if you notice that, at the same time you feel and let go of everything else, and just notice how that consciousness, kind of supercharges this graceful exit that's happening from a polarized life into one of wisdom, compassion, love, understanding, and being funny. And getting better at pool. Because you're at home with yourself, you're at peace with yourself. And your experience of yourself isn't dependent upon your success in a game. Because you're realized. And pool and work and friends and family are all the chop wood, carry water aspects of life. And the actions are the same. What makes the difference is the consciousness that's doing them. And when you bring a state of transcendent self-awareness into the body, and is excited to experience the limitations of reality that were created in unconsciousness. That's you. You're excited to experience all these limitations that you put into your body. Because your actual consciousness of infinite source occasionally likes to dive into the muck and feel what happens when something goes so dark and so unconscious and so confused. So in your surrender, in your opening, and you're taking responsibility for what's in your body, the real you is rushing in to be delighted in the opportunity to experience all this trauma with that limited aspect of you. And so as everything that's in you transforms and transcends your own experience of yourself, that ego, that identity, they're all dissipating too. All of the thoughts, all of the ideas, all of the beliefs, all of the identities. All of your identities are fading away. And yet, to your experience, of yourself, it feels like you're becoming more and more real, more and more present. But at the same time, you can't find anything that you've identified with as yourself that's not going to be destroyed or by its dissolution because of the fact that everything about it was pretend or a lie. And a lie can't maintain the integrity of its creation in the light of wholeness, of universal eternal truth. That deconstructs creation, because creation is held together by twists of unconsciousness. And when consciousness is reintroduced, the identity disappears, the ego disappears. But what felt like your ego was just your consciousness in that configuration. So you're not fighting the ego, because the ego is technically you, but with a bunch of operating systems that are fighting for supremacy and opposing itself. So just feel that and relax. Just relax and feel it. It's not going to kill you, but even if it did, I mean, that's the way I'd like to go out. I'd like to go out as a divine flow. Our divine firework explosion. Or, and when even saying that, is just reinforcing the fact that I'm not experiencing that as myself right now. And that's all we have to do, is willingly experience our authentic self. The transcendent one. So just allow your self-realization to experience the true self beyond the ego, beyond the story, beyond the body. What's going on?
It's distracting me.
Oh. Well, you can ask her to turn it down. Just say we're recording. Yeah.
Hey Dee. Deja. Hey Dee. Dee. Can you turn that down? We're recording. Well, you can turn off the. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for doing that. It's easy to get overwhelmed when you're opening. Because parts of it are very difficult and painful. But knowing that you don't have to hold on to it. All you have to do is open and feel it, embrace it, and then it shifts. Because you've willingly experienced it. And you stay in that opening because you're changing your experience of self in every moment. It's a continuous expansion of your experience of self. By willingly feeling everything in your body that is uncomfortable. The more you're willing to feel what's uncomfortable in your body, the more at peace you become. Because you're not hiding what's real from yourself. You're not lying to yourself. You're just allowing all the information to come in and be received and understood and flow on back out again. It's a flow. It's not an attack. It's just life. So you don't have to go to a university. All you have to do is experience without protection, without setting rules, without demanding that the unconscious be in charge of their awakening from the results of their choices. That's why it's called surrender. It's admitting that you created a big mess and you don't know what to do about it. Okay, I created this big mess and I don't know what to do about it, so obviously I can't be in charge anymore. Where does the transformation I desire come from? Comes from getting rid of all of the suppression and limitations and belief systems and ideas and thoughts and memories in your body as being defining of you. And that only happens by just opening, paying attention. And then each aspect of it comes up whenever it wants to. And when it does, you don't react to it. You feel it. You embrace it. But you embrace it for understanding, for knowing. And the moment that you do, and notice that God is present, that Creator Consciousness is present, and all of that, then just simply noticing that Creator Consciousness. At the same time, you're feeling the suppression. The suppression can't live anymore as suppression. Because it transcends its sense of self, its purpose, from a limited oppositional experience to opening into its own wholeness, its own oneness. So that's how all the conflicts cease, is you allow yourself to open. And when anybody else enters your mind or consciousness, or you meet them, you don't try to figure out what role they're playing. You're noticing that God is being them. And then they're going to say something real to you that's meaningful, instead of spouting off a bunch of bullshit from a programmed existence. So that you can feel what it's like, I'm going to do what I just said. I'm done with experiencing Rachel in this moment, Ariel. And now I'm shifting to experiencing the universal and eternal you. And in doing that, also, I can't hold on to my lies. It's an act of setting myself free, experiencing your divinity. Experiencing anybody else's divinity. It frees you. And as it frees you, they feel another person in a way that they never have felt another person before. Someone that's not judging them, that's not suppressing them, that's not thinking less of them in any way. So back to, the eternal Ariel and the universal. So just notice how when another person makes the choice to experience the real you, how that changes your experience of you in the body. Well, I don't know if we're recording on YouTube or not. It says we are. But I got it on my plot. And let's see if there's anything else, because I actually went on a long time. We're almost an hour and a half. Okay, so wrapping up our experience. What I wanted to communicate in the beginning was that I found out that confronting the seemingly infinite number of things that limit us in the body, that it was a choice to experience them, as many as want to present themselves in each moment, and to experience it intimately and authentically. But all of it, Not one aspect, not one little enemy, so to speak, can dominate because you're opening universally and eternally into experiencing anything and everything that impacts your body and your consciousness and your identity. So it's not just within your body now, it's everything. Your friends, your family, your church, the schools you went to, anything you've ever seen on television or the internet. What would it all be like today if you'd been divinely present since you were 5? How would that have changed the world? It's like, wow, right? Can you imagine someone like Christ? Or who do you guys like the best as Jews? Is there anyone that's ever been divine here? Moses, maybe Adam for a while, maybe Eve, maybe Mary. No, sorry, she was Jewish, so.
Metatron?
No, I said Mary. Oh.
Moses,
Okay, Moses.
the most divine.
Okay, so you've heard a lot about Moses. Okay?
Yeah.
So let's move our awareness around a little bit, okay? So let's just say time's a construct. Doesn't exist. When we move our consciousness there, we can experience something live. So Moses, at the burning bush, and we're there, experiencing the same thing as him. That thing that sanctified him. That thing that caused him to be a light. To actually be a being of light. At least for a time. Okay, so let's be there now with him. In that experience of holiness. Well, that feels real to me. Okay, now, back here. But still being connected to that experience at that time. And now take it a step up from that. Moses was just a name for a body that accepted a certain amount of divine presence from another, and then embodied something more profound than he had been before, afterwards. So let's follow Let's follow him back to source. There's the story. There's the experience at the burning bush. Now, keep opening until your experience of Moses encompasses Moses. What would that be now? Well, he experienced the Creator while he was embodied. So how's he experiencing himself now? Divinely, I would suspect. Universally, eternally. Something infinitely more than what he was when he was a man. Yeah. Creator consciousness, Moses. Yeah, feel him now. This creator consciousness, Moses. No matter how holy a man is, or a woman, they're still being something. They're still in the context of life. And that's filtering the divine through their nervous system, through their brain, through whatever belief systems they have left. And if they have to say even a single word to you, if it's anything other than a gentle reminder of where you can look for your truth in this moment, not putting it off in the future as an endeavor that might take you multiple lifetimes of new lessons you have to learn so that you can finally be a good girl. I'm really taking a disliking to these reincarnation guys on the other side. That's not right. To make somebody decide for the future without an eternal and universal experience of the present first. Assholes. Fucking assholes. Well, they would if they could. So, trace those people, whatever those guys are called by the Gnostics and things. Trace them. Because they've got all the smarts. They got all the brains. And they probably even have good intentions. Well, what are they doing? Having people act without full knowledge and awareness. Who are they being that causes them to have to need something created by somebody else? Where are they not self-sufficient? Where are they creating lack unnecessarily? Yeah, right there. You feel that? And notice their universal divine nature that they somehow disconnected their experience of. Yeah. Feel them realizing their truth finally. Well, why not? As the nature of reality changes and opens into a celebration of life, then all of the constructed structure of polarized reality moves and morphs into a new free way of expression that's in a harmonic resonance with divine freedom. That, I believe, is what we're all here for. And how do you do it? By having your attention and awareness on that, not on watching 5 hours of YouTube every day, David. That's nuts. Wasting your life on being entertained when something divine, eternal, and universal is willing to act through you, experience your life with you and as you. The freedom that you want from the ego is you in your authentic, but all the way you, not 10% better, not 100% better, but infinitely better. It's unfathomable, the difference between normal human consciousness and the truth. It's truly worse a million times over than us looking at a caveman, with a rock to kill something with. The only thing that's real is this moment. So be real in this moment to yourself. Well, that's the painting. I guess I'm going to have to see if I can repeat that. What did I say? The only thing that's real is this moment.
It's this moment. Yeah.
And I guess I'll have to go back and listen to the recording. But at any rate, that's should be the payment, or the painting for the session. And I can't believe I haven't, with all this time on vacation, haven't pulled out any of my art stuff.
Perfect porch.
The pieta is kind of blocking the unloading.
How heavy is that?
Well, I need help with it. But at any rate, okay. I said I was going to wrap this up. Give yourself time alone. No music, no internet. But you can do it with rapé or marijuana or whatever that enhances your feelings, your ability to go in and experience. And just let that So is there anything you want to say, or we'll just
No,
say?
no, I wanna talk off.
Okay,
camera.
okay. So, well, nobody's ever going to listen to this, you know that.
Well, you're live on YouTube, are you not?
Yeah, with 0 viewers.
Well, I spilled water, so I'm just trying to.
Yeah, we don't want that to run
I don't
the
know.
ceramic floor.
For a towel or something? Yeah. Yeah, wow, that was. I don't know if you saw, I cried 3 times.
What?
Did you notice me crying?
No.
You didn't notice me crying? I cried 3 times.
Well,
Yeah.